Okay, so this is the next example. We are going to order these numbers in ascending order. So, in order to solve this problem, we are going to need our unit circle again. We are going to use our unit circle definition of sine function. So let's get our unit circle. So x is equal to sine of 25 degrees. So 25 degrees, let me just try to construct the 25 degrees. So in degrees, this is 0, right? This is 0 degrees, and how about this point? All the way up to, from this point to this point, all the way up to, it is 90 degrees, right? So I can say the 25 degrees just right about here. So let's say that this point represents 25 degrees. So I can actually draw this line and the intersection point, and this is for 25 degrees. All right, so, and I have 64. Can I say 64 is, let's say this point, it is 64 degrees, and let's say this is 75 degrees. Let me erase that 90 first. Let me erase this 90. So this point, 90 degrees. So the 75 degrees will be here. So I can draw these. Let me draw these terminal sides. Alright, so this is 25 degrees, this is 64 degrees, and this is 75 degrees. And sine of 25, for example, sine of 25 is the y coordinate of this point, right? Y coordinate of this point. What is the y coordinate of this point? So let me get back to the y-axis. So this is the y coordinate of this point. So I can say this point is sine of 25. And sine of 64 is the y coordinate of this point. So that's going to be sine of this point is going to be sine of 64. And how about this one? It's going to be the y coordinate. Sine of 75 is going to be y coordinate of this point. So this point is going to be sine of 75, right? So as you see, sine of 25 is the smallest one. Then we get 64, sine of 64, and then we get sine of 75. We can say sine of 75 is greater than, it's clear, sine of 64, sine of 64 degrees, and it is greater than sine of 25 degrees. Sine of 25 degrees. So it says, actually it doesn't matter, ascending or descending. Let me write this in ascending order. So sine of 25 is x. Let me write this first. Sine of 25 degrees smaller than sine of 64 degrees smaller than sine of 75 degrees. Okay, so what is sine of 25? Sine of 25 is x. X is smaller than, sine of 64 is z. X is smaller than z, and z is smaller than sine of 75, which is y. So this is the order. X is smaller than z, is smaller than y. Or so the next example, this is the next example. We are going to order these values, and then we should use our unit circle, right? So we have 73 degrees. So as you know, this is 90 degrees and this is 0 degrees. So if this is, let's say, 73 degrees, we can use this point for 14 degrees. 14 degrees, this is 14 degrees. And we can use this point for 46 degrees. So we can have some terminal sides here, some terminal sides, and we can get our angle. But let's just keep this way. All right, so What is the cosine of 73? Cosine of 73 is the x coordinate of this point. So this point is cosine of 73. So let me write cosine of 73 is this point. So how about this? The x coordinate of this point, 46, that's going to be cosine of 46, right? Cosine of 46. So this is cosine of 46. And the x coordinate of this point, it's going to be somewhere around here, right? Let's say this point. So let me write that here. It is cosine of 14, right? That's it. So cosine of 73, cosine of 46, and cosine of 14. So on a number line, the number on the left is always the smaller and the number on the right is always the greater number. So we can write cosine of 73. Cosine of 73 degrees is smaller than cosine of 46 degrees is smaller than cosine of 14 degrees. So cosine of 73 is m. M is smaller than cosine of 46 is t. M is smaller than t, and cosine of 14 is n. M is smaller than t, and t is smaller than n. So let's use calculator to see the result actually. Without using the unit circle, let's use a calculator and let's see if it is really correct or not. So let's write the sine of 25 first. Sine of 25. So 25, sine of 25 degrees is equal to 0.42. Let's write 0.42. 0.42. And sine of 75. Sine of 75 is equal to 0.96. It is 0.96. And sine of 64. That's right. Sine of 64 is equal to 0.89. Approximately 0.89. We can write. It keeps going, but we didn't write those values. Alright, so as you see, sine of 25, which is 0.42, this is the smallest one. 0.42 is smaller than 0.89, and 0.89 is smaller than 0.96. So we will get x is smaller than z, and z is smaller than y. This is what we get actually. You can do the same thing for the cosine. You can try that on your own. We are going to solve the last example now. Alright, so this is the last example we are going to do. We are going to order these values. Sine of 25, sine of 110, and sine of 220. So let's start with sine of 25. Sine of 25, so you already know that this point represents 0 degrees and this point represents 90 degrees. So sine of 25 will be, let's say, around this point, right? So this is sine of 25. And sine of 110, if this is 90 and 20 more, this point is going to be representing 110 degrees and 220. So if this is 180 degrees, you already know that 40 more, so we'll get 220 degrees. Right. So now let's find the sine values of these degrees. Okay, so the sine value is always the y coordinate of these points, right? So this is going to be sine of 25, and the y coordinate of this point is going to be this. So this point is going to be, let me write here, sine of 110 degrees. And this point, the y coordinate of this point is going to be, this is sine of 220. So on our number line on the y-axis, the number above is always greater than the number below. So we can say that sine of 110 is the greatest of these numbers. And then we get sine of 25, and then we get sine of 220. So sine of 110 degrees is greater than sine of 25 degrees is greater than sine of 220 degrees. Okay, so sine of 110 is B. B is greater than sine of 25, which is A. Sine of 25 is A. Greater than sine of 220 is C. B is greater than A, and A is greater than C. Let's use our calculator to see if this is correct or not. So let's get out our Sine Calculator. Sine of 25, let's write 25. So calculate sine of 25, 0.42. So 0.42. Sine of 110. 110. Sine of 110 is 0.93. So it is 0.93. So it's correct, as you see. 0.93 is greater than 0.42. And this point, actually, you see this is the point 0. This is the origin, and this is 1. So these values must be between 0 and 1. And as you see, sine of 25 is 0.42. So this point is actually 0.42. 0.42. And this point is actually 0.93. So it is 0.93, right? Alright, so sine of 220. Let's get our calculator back, and 220 degrees. So this point is negative 0.64. Okay? Right, so actually that's correct, because the value must be between 0 and negative 1, and this is negative 0.64, right? So negative 0.64. So it is really correct. Sine of 110 is greater than sine of 25, and it's greater than sine of 120. Right, it was our last example. See you in the next video.